Now, I just got this information this morning on this IRS scandal. And remember, Lois Lerner's computer, mysteriously, her hard drive just crashed, right? All the emails that the investigators needed to look at, right, for the time period of their harassing these conservative organizations, all of the emails that were needed to conduct the investigation as to, what type of emails were being sent between who at the IRS and Lois Lerner, the commissioner. All the emails, unfortunately, in some freak accident, were destroyed by a crashing hard drive. And oops, Now, of course, it seemed too convenient for the IRS, for the Obama administration, that was a coincidence, that it just so happens that the very hard drive that would contain the emails that we needed happened to mysteriously get fried. But here is another revelation in these ongoing investigations, okay? And this is what I'm reading, and this should be a huge, huge story. Apparently, the Lois Lerner also had a BlackBerry. Right? And the BlackBerry, of course, had its own history of emails that were sent through her BlackBerry device. And apparently, after the hard drive had been destroyed, and after the IRS knew that it was destroyed, and that all of these pertinent and important emails had been lost, and after the congressional investigation into the scandal had already been launched. So you have an investigation. You have the IRS claiming that, unfortunately, there was an accident, and we really wanted to, make all this information public because, of course, it would totally vindicate us, and you would see that we did nothing wrong. But unfortunately, all the evidence that would exonerate us has been lost, right? Unfortunately, right? All of a sudden, they find the BlackBerry. Oh, my God. This is great. Here's Lois Lerner's BlackBerry. Now we can get all this information that we wished we had, that we really wanted to turn over to the Congress because it would exonerate us and show that this is just a big misunderstanding. Thank God we found her BlackBerry. No, what did the IRS do when they found Miss Lerner's BlackBerry? Why, they wiped all the memory clean and destroyed the BlackBerry. So now all that evidence is gone too. Now, this is big because it shows that they didn't want this information, because when they found that there was another source, they destroyed that source too, which suggests to me that they deliberately destroyed the other source of that information. Now, how many people were involved in this cover-up? How many people, knew what was in those emails? How many people participated in those emails? And how many people were involved in the destruction of the hard drive and the BlackBerry device? Anybody that had any involvement in this needs to be charged with a crime. Not only is this is big obstruction of justice, this is a big cover-up. This makes Watergate look like a Sunday school picnic. This is big-time stuff. If this was a Republican in office, he'd probably already have been impeached. But it's a Democrat, a black Democrat, he can't do anything wrong, right? Now, what does this even say to me? To me, is that if there's such an extensive effort going on in this cover-up, who is implicated in these emails? Because to me, if this is this big a cover-up, it can't just be some IRS guys, and it can't just be Lois Lerner. There's got to be, I'm just speculating, of course. I don't have any evidence to suggest this, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud as to the degree to which it appears that this thing is being covered up. That somebody is being protected, somebody high up, right? Maybe it's President Obama himself, or maybe it's just close aides to President Obama. But it would be my suspicion that the IRS did not act on its own. The IRS did not decide, hey, let's use our powers to harass President Obama's political opponents. right? I don't think the IRS did that on their own. My guess is that the Obama administration said, hey, let's use the IRS as a weapon, right? As a club to bash our opponents on the head. Let's use our ability, right? Because we're the executive branch, we're the government, we're in charge of the IRS. Let's use the IRS as a political tool to crush our opponents. And if that's what happened, if it came from the White House, this is big, big stuff. Again, much, much worse than Watergate. And does it go all the way to the president? Are there emails that suggest that President Obama knew what the IRS was doing? Maybe there are emails that maybe it was his idea. My problem, maybe it wasn't his idea. Maybe he knew about it. Maybe he condoned it. Maybe he looked the other way. I don't know. But we don't know because all of the evidence was destroyed. And we know they lied about it because they went out of their way to destroy the BlackBerry after they already claimed the other information was lost by accident. And again, I never believed it from the beginning because to me, it seemed like they were lying. They were stonewalling. When they were asked where the information is, they said, well, we're going to have it. We're going to bring it. It takes time. And then later on, they came back and said, oh, we don't have it because the information was destroyed. Well, why didn't they know that from the beginning? Why didn't they come out right away and say the information was destroyed? Because they hadn't thought that lie up yet. That was the lie that they came up with probably after they saw some of the information. And they said, oh, my God, we can't release this. So there needs to be a major investigation. People need to be prosecuted. People need to be imprisoned if they're found guilty for this huge obstruction of justice and abuse of power. The abuse of power is even worse than the obstruction of justice that followed.